is the Ghosted Wine podcast, and today we are actually starting a new series, I would say, with me and beautiful Maggie. Hello, Maggie. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Thanks for joining and supporting the idea that we have now. So the series is going to be focused on sex toys, and the whole journey and educational part going to be present into those episodes. And me and Maggie decided to collaborate on that, since Maggie has a very impressive, I would say, resume background on sex toys. So Maggie, would you please enlighten everyone why you so gorgeous?
Well, I was always making me out to be some kind of expert, but no, I'm a brand ambassador for an internationally renowned sex toy company called Svacom. They're headquartered in mainland China, but they sell toys all over, and they have some offices in different parts of the States and also some in Europe. And yeah, like I'm just a huge sex toy enthusiast. I've been exploring my sexual pleasure with sex toys for many years. I think it started mostly when I was like in uni, and since then it's kind of just like escalated. And yeah, now I just have a very flamboyant collection of sex toys, and I'm going to be sharing that with you.
Yep. Thank you again for being and doing this. And we have a lot of things actually to cover. So it's going to be, this is why we decided like to have a series with that, because we talked a few days back with Megan, like, okay, so let's talk about this. I was like, it's never gonna fit in one or two episodes. So we decided let's do it like step by step and do the whole episode. So today we will be covering, just basics, which is sex toys in our nowadays society and types of sex toys, right?
Mhm.
So let's start with the first one. Like, let's jump into it. And, what is the actual opinion of the society on sex toys today?
Well, that's the thing, because like it seems like we've moved on a lot. Like, sex toys are a lot more like visible in our society. Like, it's being marketed a lot more explicitly. And I think a lot more sex toys stores are opening up. They're being sold online now. So there's different like platforms. So I think in that sense, we're kind of like moving forward towards a more like open-minded society. But at the same time, I feel like it's one of those like unspoken taboos. Like people still feel like sex toys are a bit of a naughty thing, or maybe something like kind of freakish. Like you have to be very sexually out there to be using sex toys. They're not really seen for like the very normal everyday things that they are. So yeah, like I feel like a lot of women, I mean, even just within my personal friendship group, like I have a lot of friends that have either never used sex toys in their lives, or only have one that they kind of like, rarely use. So I find that quite astounding, because I don't really know what my life would be without sex toys. So yeah, it's kind of strange for me to think that there are some people who like have never experienced the pleasure.
Yeah, I definitely feel you and I agree with you. I have a lot of friends as well who have never tried it. And like, I would say some of them have been posted like as it's slutty or something, because
Wow.
we've been like learn to like have intimacy with someone that we have a deep emotional connection with. But what about like ourselves? Like I have a deep emotional connection with myself. I think that's very important to establish as well. And I think we've mentioned it like with you in our private conversation that it is very important, to have this like self-love on all levels. Because I mean,
Yeah.
orgasms are just amazing. Let's just
And
face it.
that's the thing, when it comes to sex, not everything has to be emotional. Like, it's scientifically proven that like orgasms are good for our bodies, it's good for the brain. People who have more regular orgasms are naturally smarter. It's not a coincidence, people. It's good for stress levels, it's good for keeping your like blood pressure down. And it's just good in general in terms of like, lifting up your mood. If you have an orgasm, like the chemicals that are released into your brain automatically like elevate your mood. So that's the thing. It's kind of just like I feel like people need to start getting their daily dose of orgasms, because we do a lot of things for self-care, especially us women. Like we do face masks, we do hair masks, we go get our nails done, we have long baths, we use essential oils. And a lot of people neglect like the sexual aspect. Like we also need to be getting our regular orgasms in. Come on.
And that's the thing, like if you have time, you can like, as you said, like lighten candles, have a long bath, get into the mood, watch porn, or like, like aesthetic porn or like whatever you prefer, and then, you know, get into the fantasy or whatever, you know, make it build up. Or you can also do a quickie, it's fine as well. Like you don't have to
Yeah,
whole, like, you know, ceremony of like preparation for the orgasm to actually have an orgasm. You can just do like in the
right.
shower, you know, like that's a really good quickie while you have your mask for the hair on. Just like, oh,
Mhm.
what should I do for another 10 minutes? Let me think. I think that's good to know, like, obvious.
Exactly, and most sex toys are waterproof nowadays as well. So I find it's a great addition for the bath. Like if you're having a long bath, bring your sex toy in there with you. Why not? Like you're just
Yeah.
going to be sitting there anyway.
Doing nothing. I mean, read a book or masturbate. Like either way, it's, you know, healthy and, you know,
Best combination:
everything.
masturbate and read. Love it.
Yes. It's nothing, you know, whatever. But like I feel like a lot of people like still you know, take it like it's not frowned upon, which I would kind of use, but it's also like, you know, kind of like backwards, you know. So even if you do have a toy, you're not actually a proud owner of that. You just like, you have a toy, you have a sex toy.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think there's still a bit of mysticism around sex toys. Like most people just keep them like cooped up in their drawer. And it's also something that is not like very regularly talked about. Like I think especially like with women, like we love to chit chat about who we're dating, like who we're seeing, who we're fucking. But then when it comes to actually like, you know, what we do with ourselves, when the mood strikes, like that, even just like talking about masturbation in general, I find that still somewhat of a taboo topic amongst women. Like it's something that a lot of people cringe at talking about, which is very bizarre because it's like the 21st century, you know, like, and it's a very natural organic thing. So I think we need to kind of like move out of that stigmatism around like masturbation and self-pleasure, because yeah, we just need to start thinking of it as a form of self-care.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I have a few friends that I've met in my life who are just like, yeah, I don't like masturbation. I was like, are you sure? Did you try it right? What did you use? Because
Are you doing it right?
I'm so stressed, you know, like I do understand obviously there are like different types of body and all, like some people do not like it. It's fine as well. But I'm like so committed to make sure that they're doing everything right and they actually did it, like, you know, to reach the maximum. Just okay,
Exactly.
if you reached it and you're not feeling okay, then you can give it up. But like don't give it up just yet. Try everything. But I think it's amazing, and I want a slogan like that, like put orgasms in a self-care. Like
Mhm.
that should be
In the
slogan
checklist, like
for the
bath check,
therapist as
face
well.
mask check, masturbate check. Okay, I'm good.
Yep. It's like, you know, like morning pill or whatever. You just like, or vitamins, you know. It's like
Mhm.
done. Obviously, because it's a lot of it's very healthy and pleasant, you know, it's happiness. Why wouldn't you want to make yourself happy? And you
Exactly.
know, but yeah, I do agree that we need to speak about it more. Like, which is basically this is why we're doing this. So if you guys,
A podcast.
yep, if you guys like it, leave, you know, comments below, put thumbs up, thumbs down. If you don't like it, it's fine. And you know, subscribe, hit notification buttons, follow us on RSS everywhere. And now I think we can move into types of sex toys, which we
Mhm.
also gonna do. You know, we're not just gonna talk about it. Right here on the screen, we're gonna put a little like pictures of what actual we're talking about. So you just like, the fuck is that? Oh, this is it. So I would probably suggest take away all the children that are below 18 years old, please. So I think we're good now. Just in case.
Nice.
I restrict,
Disclaimer.
I restrict the video, but like just in case. I said what I said. Anyways, so what would you divide into like main types of like sex toys?
So I think for me, the best way to kind of like categorize or like differentiate them is you have toys that are penetrative, and then you have toys which are stimulators. So typically, like if you want to like a really basic way of thinking about it, it's like external and internal use. So with your stimulating toys, they're kind of more for like external areas and for stimulating your erogenous zones. So with those, you can use them like on your nipples, you can use them in other areas that you can get sexual pleasure. Like for example, I quite like using them on my neck or down the spine if you've got someone that, 'cause it's kind of hard to do it yourself. So, you know, if you're exploring with someone, you can get them to run it along your your spine. That feels really, really nice. And then obviously, like, you can use it like just like around your belly, on your clit. So those are like your stimulating ones. They tend to be vibrators, so they'll have like different vibration frequencies and also different modes in terms of like the speeds and things like that. And then of course you have your penetrative toys. So they're like your dildos, your anal plugs, quite a few different toys go into that category, but they're the ones that are typically for internal use. So you're going to be inserting those. And remember guys, like this is not just talking in terms of like heterosexual couples. So, like gay male couples, there's a variety of different toys that, they can use. Female couples, lesbian couples, like there's different toys that are specifically for that kind of sexual partnership. So yeah, there's quite a variety, which I think we're gonna break down just to kind of give you guys a clear idea of what we're talking about.
Yeah, because actually, like we've been like discussing like the whole, scenarios of that, like of what series could be, and we actually came out with even more topics that are even beyond just like sex toys, but like in terms of like couples, what kind of relationships they are, because it's not only like two people anymore, it's so complex now. So I think that like we came to the conclusion that we should like talk about it and break it down, the more the merrier, the more people know about it, the easier it gets, I think. So
Yeah.
you said like there are two like types that you would divide into, like penetration one and
Stimulators.
stimulators. So let's start with stimulators, right? So we have nipple clips, right? They're like,
Mhm.
mhm.
Yeah, and they're normally vibrating. So
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah.
I've always wanted to have those, but I've never had.
Yeah, me
Oh
too,
my God.
actually.
I think
All of
after
those
this, I'm
sensitive
gonna like
nipples.
spend fortune in a sex store, which is not bad.
Yeah. I want someone to give me an unlimited budget so I can buy all the things that I need.
Oh man, I could just buy myself a sex toy and that's it. Like that's where the budget gonna go, especially. So yeah, so there are nipple clippers, the feathers, there what pedals for spanking. There are what else?
Suckers.
Yes. Then there's like, as you said, the clit vibration,
Bullet.
right? Yeah, bullets. And then there's like those can be divided into vibrating and sucking. And sometimes like sucking now have both sucking and vibration mode for that,
Mhm.
which is nice. Have you ever tried this like sucking motion thing?
Yeah, I have. I personally prefer the ones that have both, where it has like this kind of sucking motion. Just to kind of explain for anyone who's new to the suckers, it's basically supposed to emulate the feeling of like a mouth. So I guess it would feel the equivalent of like having oral stimulation. So you can use it on your nipples, and it kind of feels like somebody's sucking your nipples. And if you're using it on your clit, then it kind of feels like you're getting eaten out. Ooh,
Yeah. So
yeah.
like, yeah,
So yeah, the suckers are great. And
like
coupled with the vibrations, it makes for like a really amazing stimulation, because you're kind of getting that sucking action, but then you're also getting like the power of the vibrations, which is like causing a different type of stimulation. So one of my faves.
yeah, I think I had this one, and they always like put it like in kind of like animal kind of or insects. So I had like butterflies, so it literally looked like butterfly. Are not really high quality, and I think this is why it broke down so fast. Well, I was like,
That's why, not due to overuse or aggressive use.
we'll never know. We'll never know. Anyways, let's keep it like both, okay? But yeah, I would say it's nice, but yeah, it's nice, but I think because it was like low quality, because I was in my early 20s, like I was in Ukraine, I couldn't afford that kind of, like go to the store and like buy stuff, because it was like kind of like frowned upon, I would say. And the only thing that I would like to point out for like probably our male, mostly male part of the listeners and some females, that if you use it on your clit, it doesn't mean that it will suck you out, that your the whole clit would be like with lips like shagging or whatever. It's all genetic, guys. It doesn't do that, okay? So like don't be afraid and stop making like stupid stereotype conclusions, which is like just stupid. Anyways, sorry, that was like my teachable moment. So then we have So there's like stimulation bullets. Then what else?
We also have Kegel eggs, which I think a lot of people, they don't really know what those are or what they're for. And it's kind of like a strange one because it's like, do we categorize them as sex toys or do we categorize them as training equipment? Because with the Kegel eggs, it's like your Kegel muscles are essentially like your pussy muscles. So, you know, a lot of women know, like, as you get older, you know, the muscles down there start to kind of relax and, you know, it's not as tight down there. So a lot of Kegel trainers are designed to, you know, keep things firm and snatch down there. So, you know, you can use different things. Like some people use beads for that purpose. But then they also have like Kegel eggs. So you literally just like insert them and then you can do like some pelvic floor exercises and kind of like gyrate your pelvis. And then, yeah, it basically just provides extra bit of resistance. So with that one, it's a bit like, do we categorize it as a sex toy? Because it's the main function is not really to sexually stimulate, it's more to train your vaginal muscles.
Yeah, I think
so.
I know there's like again, but we jumped into like penetration ones, which is cool because I think we kind of cover everything that goes stimulation outside of the penetration. So I would say it's like somewhere in between. So for instance, if you started with like, if you're starting it, obviously those like beads are like quite big for you not to basically lose them and like train. So they go like from different size, and like the more trained your Kegel muscle is, the smaller they are, and then some of them don't even have the connection between those two. So you basically put them in and they're like probably this big and you have to hold them in. And then what I've heard is that you can literally switch them back and forth with your Kegel muscle, and this is what gives you arousement, and this is what like makes that stimulation and makes you like feel like you're about to come kind of thing. But
Nice.
yeah, it is sounds really nice and impressive.
Yeah, it's a skill.
Yeah, but like if you guys don't like, if you want to like know more about Kegel like muscle, but you don't want to buy yourself like those beads, you can easily just like, you know, do yourself with no trainers whatsoever, like to start with. Just like, you know, squeeze in, squeeze out.
Contract fully.
Literally
Contract
like
fully. How are you doing it now?
Yeah, I mean, it's training, you know, I'm always on the clock to train. Anyway, so then we like kind of slowly moving into penetration, right? Yeah, so from Kegel muscle trainers, we can put them somewhere in between, so it's either way. Then we go into basic dildos, right, for penetration. Then we have vibrating dildos, well, which is basically a vibrator. Then we have this like weird thing, probably the first ever toy that I've seen in my life was wand vibrator. Did I say it right?
A wand.
Which sounds still weird to me, but it's kind of like it's a neck massager or something. It's like huge, like you can see on the screen, you guys. But for some reason, like I'm so terrified like to even try it out because I think it's gonna like burn me down. I don't know, like burn the clit down. It just, I don't know, it scares me a little bit. But have you tried that one?
Yeah. Well, I think that the funny thing about the wand ones is there's obviously some which have been adapted to become like, you know, vibrators, but then there's ones which are just genuinely are body massagers, and they're kind of advertised and sold in sex stores because at the end of the day, like, you know, a vibrating body massager can still be a stimulating item. So it can be classified as a sex toy, but I think the mistake that a lot of people make is you're not necessarily like, you shouldn't really insert it. That's the whole reason why a lot of them are like absolutely enormous, and the shape is quite impractical. So the good thing about them is they're kind of like versatile, so you can actually use them to like genuinely massage body, especially if you've like gone for a workout, you're quite sore. It's a good way to kind of like, you know, release the tension from the muscles. But then at the same time, I think because people still feel a little bit funny about, you know, purchasing or like exploring sex toys, I think for some people it's easier to buy a body massager and then tell yourself and tell other people like, oh, it's just a massager, like I'm not a weirdo. But then secretly they'll be like, you know, exploring which other places that they can actually use the massager, and it's kind of like, just buy a sex toy.
I think also like it goes for vibrating vibrators. Sorry guys, but like yeah, vibrators also like they have the ones that actually work themselves, like they're just like moving. you know, which is like whole machine. You could do, and it could be like self-thrusting dildos, I think,
Mm,
which is like, yeah, it looks also like a little bit terrified, but it does the whole function of like penetration itself. So you don't
mm,
even like, you just put it in and it's just like boom, boom, boom. And I think it has like different speeds of like thrusting as well,
mm.
which is like, yeah. But like I actually seen a couple of those in the sex store, but I've never owned one. So I don't know. I would prefer like for thrusting, I would prefer an actual man, I would say. Hmm. Anyways,
Yeah, I'm not someone who tends to like penetrative action. Like even in terms of like, you know, being with men, I never come from the penetrative like pat pat pat. Like that's not the part that I like of the sexual encounter. I'm more into the foreplay, which is I guess why I prefer to, you know, be sexual with women. Um, but yeah, I think if you're kind of like me and you don't get a lot of stimulation from like the penetrative side, then I would personally recommend go more for like the stimulant toys, like the vibrators. You can get ones that are not too girthy, like so if you're not like, if you don't really like a lot of girth, if you just prefer like clitoral stimulation, that kind of thing, then you might be better off with something like a bullet or like a kind of medium-sized wand that's not too girthy. So
yeah,
then that way you can put it in, but you don't have to like really like emulate the feeling of like a dick going in and out.
yeah. Because like, I mean, for that, you should probably go on Tinder, I think,
Yeah.
if you're
Might
single.
as well.
Okay, so then we have butt plugs.
Mm-hmm.
Then we
Anal
have,
plug.
yeah, which also can come vibrating, non-vibrating in silicone or glass or metal. And it also has like, diamonds, feathers, fur, every single thing that you think of. Then we have anal beads, which could be
Mm-hmm.
this long. And then we have prostate massager, which also
Mm-hmm.
could be vibrating and non-vibrating. And
We
oh
also have
yeah,
fleshlights. So talking about male toys like fleshlights as well. So they're essentially like a model pussy. So it's something for men to, you know, stick their penis in and it feels all warm and moist and it's just like a real pussy.
and it's
So
like
yeah,
it's
we
also
have
like
those.
tight. So I think the whole thing is like it's thrusting as well, like masturbating, and it's also like squeezing, I think.
Yeah, you have different types of ones. Some of them are just kind of like, you know, some of them even like have heating mode, so it kind of gets like warm. And some of them are like self-lubricating, so it can get like wet. And yeah, modern technology has changed the sex toy industry, people. Like they're getting
Okay.
real intelligent now.
Yes.
Self-lubricating, self-heating pussy.
Yeah. They.
Toy.
Anyways, then we have which reminds me of rabbit thing, which
Hmm.
is a dildo with a clit stimulation in shape of bunny, which it was like, or
Hmm.
rabbit, whatever you prefer, which I think will also like a hit of 2000s.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
I
They feel dated now.
Yeah, but they like for now, I would say they're like enormous, like the old school like type. And they also on the battery, which I think is not really cool because I mean, batteries are expensive. And why would you use
Right.
batteries if you have USB? And you cannot go like with batteries, I think, to the shower. I don't think it's waterproof with batteries.
Yeah, see that's the best thing about a lot of the modern day sex toys. Like most of them now have USB chargers, so it just means longevity in terms of like the toys usage, but it also is just like a lot easier because like most of them will use like the micro USB cable, which all of us have for other devices. So you're not having to go out on battery runs. And you know, normally the price point difference is like, you know, toys that are like battery operated will be a lot cheaper, and the USB ones will be more expensive. But it's a fallacy, guys, because if you think about it, the amount of money that you're going to spend like long term on batteries that you're having to replace all the time, it's going to work out either the same or actually more expensive. So you're much better off going for like a more expensive, better quality product that's USB. It's just going to save you so much time. And it's normally going to be a better design because if you think about something having to like, you know, accommodate for batteries, it's going to make the design more bulky, which is I think what you were talking about in terms of like those old school rabbits, like they were really huge because they literally had like battery packs attached. So
So like
with the
three
USB
full
it can be
batteries.
very like, non-existent, you don't really see it, it takes you like further into the illusion.
Yeah. I think actually Swackham has really nice rabbits, but it's so like chic, I would say. I mean, like you look at that,
Mhm.
you don't see bunny, like actual like little face, ears. You can you see the shape of it, which is like, kind of there because again, if I'm buying a sex toy, I don't want to see a butterfly on it, okay? I don't want to shape
Right.
I want a shape of a butterfly, but I don't want to see a butterfly, like eyes, like
Yeah, it's weird.
that's creepy, So no. And going back to yeah, there's sorry, continuing to the topic of the dildos with a rabbit. There are also like G spot vibrators, which also usually goes with or without the clit stimulation, and A spot. Have you ever heard about A spot?
I've never heard of A spot. What does the A
So
stand for?
apparently it's like even deeper than G spot. And then some people are actually now debating that G spot is actually don't exist, but it's not scientifically proven yet, whatever. It's not a whole story and topic. But A spot apparently is like a way like higher and deeper, and then they use like a specific A spot like vibrator that you can see here, which looks like kind of scary for me because it's like it's longer and it has like a ball on it to like probably like I don't know, reach it,
Stimulate the A spot, I guess.
reach and stimulate. So yeah, and I don't know, it kind of looks, I don't know, it scares me. It's way deep, It's like I don't know. But anyways, if you like think that, if you feel that your A spot is something that you need to try, I think those are the ones that you need to try. Apparently there's A spot, G spot, too many spots to reach. Oh my God, I feel overwhelmed
Yeah.
already. But anyways, and then besides those, I think, yeah, I would say also there's like a cock ring.
Hmm.
Yeah, which also could be as a part of BDSM play, and also I think is like cock cage as well. But we're gonna go into that a little bit later on. And there's also obviously a stimulating, vibrating ring. Have you ever
Hmm.
tried that one? I've never tried it, which is so weird. You can actually buy it at the supermarket at Durex section with like cock.
Yeah, I think the funny thing about cock rings is just by nature of the name. I think a lot of people tend to think it's like just for men. But from what I've heard from like some male friends I've actually been using cock rings, like because the frequency of the vibrations tends to be a lot lower on them. So for men, it doesn't really give that much stimulation, especially because like they're putting it further down the shaft for it to like be in place, and that's kind of the part of the penis that is like the least sensitive. So I think for men, it doesn't quite do as much. But the great thing about cock rings is it's really, really good for like couple play because as a woman, like if you're kind of like me and you don't really get a lot of stimulation from the penetrative action, then if a man is actually wearing a cock ring while he's kind of like inside you, then you can get that extra stimulation. Like if you line up the cock ring with your clit while you guys are like, bumping uglies. So yeah, it's yeah, like the way it's marketed, it's really marketed for men, but I think it's actually something that is like very useful for women.
I think it's like, as you said, marketing really well. I think it's marketing for men in order for make it easier to bring to the bed, you know? So like as
Hmm.
we said in the beginning, that men don't like compete with a sex toy kind of thing, but it's kind of like for them, but it's actually not. But they think
Yeah.
it is. So I'm just like, that marketing tool, as you said, probably was created by a woman. She was like, let me trick those smart men. Yeah.
But
So
that but
I
that
think
is
it's
such a good point, because I think that is like another thing that needs to be like openly discussed, is like, why is it that a lot of men see a sex toy as a threat? Like I found that, like, in partnerships that I've been in with men, I found it's a lot more difficult to introduce the idea of a sex toy, like in my experience has only ever been with one person that has been like really experimental and adventurous and be like, yeah, like, you know, he loved using sex toys on me and bringing that as an extra dimension into like intercourse. But I feel like with a lot of men, it's like they feel like they have to compete with the sex toy, and it's that kind of typical reaction of like, oh, like you've got all of this dick and you want to use like a rubber silicone thing. Like they are like very offended if you want to like suggest like using one, because it's almost like for them they feel that it's like I don't know, like you're saying that they're sexually inadequate in terms of pleasing you, so you need to have that extra toy. And I think it's really important for men to understand that it has nothing to do with your dick levels, your dick energy, your dick game, whatever you want to call it, your competency. Like it's just about adding an extra dimension, and it's just about being experimental, having more fun, exploring different ways to give each other pleasure. And I think it's really, really important for men to like embrace that and to be more adventurous, like, because, you know, sex, especially like heterosexual sex, like it can get very routine, especially when you've been with someone a long time. Like you tend to start like, you know, going through the same routines, you know, what other person likes. So it's a good way to like spice things up and try something new.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, as Maggie said, like you guys like don't have to be afraid of it. And women should have also be embracive about it and talk about it, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
that it's actually not a competition. It doesn't mean that you guys don't give women enough pleasure, which usually is like a case, to be honest. But if you've been with each other for a while, or you know, you just hit the chemistry together, it's still like it's something new, it's something interesting. It's the same as role play, same as, you know, spanking, I don't know, BDSM, kind of like dress up 50 shade of gray type of style, whatever it is.
Right.
It's just implementing like, don't be afraid of sex toys. You're not afraid of like, you know, watching like girl on girl action, right? And you
Or
are like,
watching porn.
yes, or so many like men would like to have a threesome with two women, you know? So like, don't like, let us have our fantasies as well. It doesn't mean that,
Yeah.
you know, sex toy and I don't know, like we imagine something weird. We just want to like have extra pleasure when, you
Mm-hmm.
know, it could be like literally the most boring ass missionary sex with no toys, and a woman still can picture, I don't know, George Clooney or I don't know, Jake Gyllenhaal, whatever she dreams about in her head. So like this is where the competition actually starts, that you're not
Right.
aware of, that you're not even aware of, where sex toys is like the least threats you actually have.
Right. That's the least of your worries. You need to be worried about what's going on in here.
Exactly. So you guys, if she wants to bring a sex toy in a bed, make it as a compliment. That also means that she's very comfortable with you. Like not everyone, as we said, would be that
Mm-hmm.
open about having a sex toy. And if you know that she brings it up, then it's even great. Like, yeah, why not? At least you will know your opinion on that, like try or not. And don't say, oh, I tried with another girl and, you know, I didn't like it. Try with this one as well, because we all different.
Exactly.
So,
All women are different.
yeah. And, you know, sometimes it could surprise you.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, it can. Anyway, I think we kind of covered everything that we wanted today. Do you have anything to add, Maggie?
Not much really, other than just say that, you know, sex toys are really, really important. Just in terms of like, you know, exploring your own pleasure. I know that like a lot of women, like I've spoken to so many people that I know, and even when we're like kind of grown women, you know, in our like late 20s, early 30s, like I still know women at that age who are still not able to, you know, make themselves calm or, you know, have a decent orgasm like in a
Yeah.
sexual partnership. And it's something that is like very common. And unfortunately, like a lot of women then like resort to like having to like fake orgasms, or you like pretending that they're having a lot more fun than they are. And I feel like if you are one of those women, and if your sex life is like kind of like lacking in a sense that you feel that your partner is getting a lot more than you, then that's all the more reason to try a sex toy. Because I think for me, what made me fall in love with sex toys is the fact that it really helped me like explore my own pleasure and like learn how to pleasure myself. Because I think it's like, you know, if to borrow RuPaul's phrase, if you can't pleasure yourself, how in the hell are you gonna pleasure someone else? Like, can I get
Preach,
an
preach,
amen?
preach.
Because it's so true. Like everything starts at home. Like if you don't know how to make yourself calm, if you don't know how to declare and demand like what you want, what you need from that other person in terms of your body, then you're not going to be able to enjoy that person when it comes to actually having a sexual interaction. So I think if you are one of those people, it's like, you know, get a sex toy, start exploring, like, and you might discover something amazing about yourself, and then you're gonna be able to take that into like new relationships, whether it's with women, with men, with couples, you know, groups, whatever your fancy. We don't discriminate here, but it's just like, you know, like learning like the limits of your pleasure. I think it's like invaluable, and I think every single woman especially needs to be able to know, like, you know, what their boundaries are, what makes them tick, and you know, sex toys can be a great starting point for that.
Okay. Okay, I have a last. Just explore and like bring the happiness to your temple. I don't know why I just thought about the word temple and I just really wanted to use it. Anyways, last question. How many sex toys do you own, Maggie?
Right. Okay, so funny story about my sex toy collection. So as you guys know, obviously I'm a brand ambassador of Swacom, and before I kind of got to that position, I was actually a sex toy tester. So every single time they would have like a new product, they would send me like one directly from the manufacturing, and then I would like test it out, do some reviews, you know, give some feedback, and that way they can improve it. So I have quite an extensive collection, but annoying thing is like I was living in China before, and when I was like moving back to the UK, the luggage allowance was only 30 kg. I had to make really strict decisions about like, okay, what is essential to take and what isn't. And while I do believe that sex toys are essential, I couldn't bring all of them, because I think if I'm going to put a number to it, then I would say I have about 20. I think about 15 of them are like from Swacom, from my testing, and then I have 5 miscellaneous ones that I've kind of, you know, bought at other occasions, or like, you know, in times of desperation when I couldn't find my favorite, or when I've just been in another country and forgotten to bring one. So yeah, I would say about 20 in total. And I wasn't about to like get on a plane and like, you know, cross the border with like 20 sex toys in my bag. I'd be like, what kind of pervert are you? And like, you know, have me held up in immigration. So I had to make a strategic
Chinese security can actually do that.
Yeah, they're very intense. So I did kind of like weigh up those options, and I was just like, do I want to run the risk of doing that and then having them confiscated? No. So I left my sex toy collection with a very close friend, and if you're watching this, I hope you're looking after those toys, because bitch, I'm coming back for them. Don't throw them away. But yeah, obviously like I couldn't leave all of them, so I had to take my one favorite. I helped name it. It's called Nymph, so I'm sure I will put a picture somewhere. So, you know, if you guys are looking for a first toy, this would be my recommendation. I feel like it's the perfect girth, perfect size, perfect length, and it's a great balance of something that you can use both penetratively and as a stimulator. So it's like the best of both worlds.
Nice. Yeah, I actually, my favorite one is from Swacom as well. So it's like a G spot with no rabbit, but like clit stimulation. It's really cool, and I would definitely suggest that one as well if you like, you know, if you would like to find G spot. It also has vibration. Mine doesn't have any anymore because I broke it, but that's another story. I knew
Aggressive user.
that was my greedy fault, but oh well. More on that and other topics, deeper topics on sex toys will come soon. And I hope you guys enjoy this episode with me and Maggie and this, you know, whole series that we have started. And if you like it, put thumbs up, subscribe, hit notification buttons, follow us on RSS, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Oh my God, I'm speaking like, you know, influencer. Like, anyway, so yeah, if you guys have any questions on which you like would need to use or would like to try out and you don't know, hit us DMs, leave the comments below, whatever you feel comfortable with, and we will make sure that we will reply to you. Anyways, we're gonna list whole names of those like toys that we use in this episode below this episode, and I hope you enjoyed it. It was the Ghost of Wine podcast, sex toy intro edition with Aya and Maggie. And also, yeah, thank you, Maggie, again for being this, you know, and like doing this, supporting my idea on doing this together. That is amazing. And I do love working with you a lot. So thank you for being
Same.
here.
We're both such sex enthusiasts, so I feel like it's just like a natural collaboration. But yeah, guys, also like if you have any suggestions of like specifically what in terms of sex toys you would like to discuss for future episodes, because remember this is a series, so we will be back every month to give you more amazing content with your favorite two. So yeah, if you have any suggestions of what you'd like us to talk about or what you'd like us to get into more depth about, then feel free to like add the comments below. We'll be reading and we'll keep it in mind.
Definitely. Anyways, thank you everyone for listening and tuning in for this one. And I think that's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Bye, guys. Mwah.
Bye.